كتاب الله 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 كتاب الله.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا أيها الناس ضرب مثل فاستمعوا له. إن الذين تدعون من دون الله لن يخلقوا ذبابا ولو اجتمعوا له وإن يسلبهم الذباب شيئا لا يستنقذوه منه ضعف الطالب والمطلوب ما قدر الله حق قدره إن الله لقوي عزيز. يا أيها الناس, O mankind, ضرب مثل, an example is quoted. فَاسْتَمِعُوا لَهُ, so listen to it carefully. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala coins an example for our understanding, so He wants us to listen here carefully. إِنَّ الَّذِينَ تَدْعُونَ مِن دُونِ اللَّهِ, indeed those whom you invoke besides Allah, لَن يَخْلُقُوا ذُبَابًا, will never be able to create even a fly. What to talk of an elephant? They will never ever be able to create even a fly. وَلَا وِجْتَمَعُوا لَهُ, even though they all join hands for this purpose. I don't think there is anything to explain in this. It's our daily observation. Man has developed in technology to a tremendous extent, yet man has not been able to produce a single green tree, a single leaf of the green tree. Single leaf is beyond the capacity of a man. He has yet not been able to produce a drop of milk. He has not yet been able to produce a drop of honey. This is all the man is. So, all those whom you invoke instead of Allah or besides Allah, they will never be able to produce or create even a fly, even though they all get together with this project that they have to try to create a fly. You know, this is in general for everything, all what you invoke. But as the Arabs used to worship man-made idols, dead stones, so especially for them, وَإِن يَسْلُبْهُمُ الذُّبَابُ شَيْئًا, and if a fly takes away something from them, لَا يَسْتَنْقِذُوهُ مِنْهُ, they will never be able to get it back from it. You know, the idols were placed in the temple, are in the prominent places, and people used to worship them, and in pursuit of worship they used to present them foods. And even now, if you go to the temples, are the places of worship of human beings other than Allah, you will find the foods are presented. And the flies are around the food. And they are taking from the food. And Allah Almighty is taunting that flies are taking away from food from them, and these idols are not in a position to get even small amount of food from them. What you talk about? What idea you have of their capability? What do you think? How strong are they? They are absolutely helpless for themselves. How can they be of any help to you? ضعف الطالب والمطلوب. So weak are both the seeker and the sought. There are different ways to assess someone. How great is he? One way of assessment is look at his achievement. If he has made a bigger achievement, you can think that he must be a great man. Think of his pursuit. What is he pursuing for? What he is after? If his pursuit is fairly high, yes, you can assume that the pursuer might also be high. Look at one's sword. If the sword is fairly good, yes, you can think the seeker may also be good. These worshippers of the idols, oh the Quraysh, you worship these idols? You pursue them? You seek them? They are your sword? Turf to you. If these are your sword, if these are the focus of your persuasion, yes, you can very well be assessed. How great are you? Shame for you. Shame to you. You pursue these idols. You worship them who are not able to create a fly, are not in a position to get back the small amount of food back from the fly which it has taken away from them. And this is always the case. This seeker-sought relationship is very important in assessing a person. There have been people in the history like this, and yet even in 21st century you have such people. Then there are people whose persuasion is they themselves. They are self-centered people. How people see them. Always they enjoy a bad reputation, don't they? Because they are self-centered. Whereas someone who wants to raise his family, he is not self-centered, but he wants to raise his family. That is his aim and ideal, is a family. He is at least considered to be an honorable person within his family. Then there are people who work for their tribes, their ideal is their tribe, they are considered to be bit more higher. Then there are people who work for nations. They are yet more higher in position. Then there are people who work for mankind. Their objective is human being. He is considered to be a great man because he serves the whole humanity. Then how can you assess a person whose objective, whose sort is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and he loves none but Allah, so he is the greatest man. And mind you, as far as the human beings are concerned, the inner core of a man is nothing but to love an ideal. Each one of us has an ideal in his mind to pursue, to try to achieve, to go after that. Some people, they love certain ideas and they are ready to die for it. Some people love their nations and they die for it. Some people love humanity, they die for it. Some people love certain individuals and they die for it. And from their ideals, you assess their status too. But one who makes Allah his ideal and he has no aim and object except to meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he is the greatest man. But as for these worshippers of the ideals, of the idols, who make these idols as their ideal, what you can say about them? They are having a detestable character. They are worthless people because they are pursuing but pieces of stone, which are of no value to them, which are of no use to them, which are not of any benefit to them at all. Yet they are pursuing. They are after them. They have made them their ideals. So let us make Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as our aim, as our object, as our ideal. Why it is so? This is a very highly philosophical part of the Quran. Now Allah explains step by step. Why it is so? Why people commit shirk? Why people make Allah's associates? Reason is, they assume Allah as a worldly king, worldly president. Your president appears to you very powerful. But what is the power of the president? His armed forces, his paramilitary military forces, police. He on his own is nothing. All his power, all his strength, all his glory rests on some others. He depends on some others. Though apparently they are not on the scene, but they are the real power in the background. Don't consider Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala like them. Ma qadarullah haqqa qadr. They did not evaluate Allah to His value. The problem arises Because problem arose because they did not evaluate Allah to His value. They thought Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is like the worldly kings, whose power, whose kingdom, whose sovereignty depends on the feudal lords, the commanders of the forces, chiefs of the police. Inna Allah laqawiyyun aziz. Indeed, Allah is strong, mighty on His own. Qawiyyun, strong, Aziz, mighty. But this lam is for emphasis. Strong, mighty on His own, not resting on others, not relying and depending on others. Zalika Rabbul Alameen. He is the Lord of the worlds. Then another problem faced by the people who commit shirk is they are not able to comprehend the idea that Allah doesn't need resources. All His attributes, all His qualities are independent of others. You know, one group of people treat idols as their lords, and they make idols for stars, sun, moon, and other stars. There is a class of people who treat Allah's messengers as Allah's associates. The Quraysh treated angels as Allah's daughters and used to make idols for the angels as daughters of Allah. And that is why their idols were having feminine names. Lat is the feminine of Ilah. Manat is the feminine of Al-Mannan. Uzza is the feminine of Al-Aziz. Right? So they were mistaken. What was the mistake? Now that mistake is also being explained. Allahu yastafi min al-malaikati rusulan wa min al-nas. Allah chooses messengers from among the angels as well as human beings. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chooses messengers from among the angels as well as the human beings. What is the function of the messengers? What is the function of the messengers? What is a messenger? The one who carries a message from Allah downwards. Angels receive the message from Allah to convey it to the messengers from human beings, the prophets. And prophet received the message, Allah's message from the angels to deliver the message to the human beings. So this is a chain from up down. Now some human beings were confused. They forgot Allah doesn't need any instrument. Allah doesn't need any medium. Allah's hearing is direct, unlimited. Allah's vision is direct, unlimited. So they assumed that to let our application also reach Allah, we need some associates. They thought as the messengers conveyed Allah's message to us, perhaps Allah also needs them to listen to us. They assume that as Allah, they were the medium between Allah and us, and so would they be medium between us and Allah. So Allah makes it clear, Inna Allah Sami'un Basir. Indeed, Allah is seeing, watching, hearing on His own. He doesn't need an amplifier to speak to Him or to listen to us. Even if you don't move your tongue, just within yourself you address Him, He will listen to you. Because He can see, He can hear everything and see everything. Whereas those whom they treat as their messengers to Allah, whereas those whom they assume as their messengers to Allah, Allah knows all what is in front of them and what is behind them. يَعْلَمُ مَا بَيْنَ أَيْدِيهِمْ وَمَا خَلْفَهُمْ. He knows all that is in front of them and all what is behind them.